Greetings, audiophiles and Mass Effect fans. Welcome to my reading of my fanfiction, After the Fall. This is a Mass Effect fanfiction, and as such, most of the characters and the universe belong to BioWare/EA Games. No copyright infringement is intended. However, the scenario and occurrences within this fanfiction are my intellectual property, so if you decide you want to share this with someone, credit me. Please. Part 2. Earth. Shepard did not dream. No unearthly child stalked the dark forests of her mind. Perhaps it was the drugs. Maybe it was just her injuries which allowed her to sink into blissful blackness. Whatever the reason, when she woke she felt more rested than she had in a long time. Well, her mind felt rested. Her entire body ached. She might have been able to find a few parts of her, like her pinky toe perhaps, that didn't hurt, but she didn't care to. She let the soreness wash over her like a familiar wave. This wasn't the pain of before. This was recovery pain. Dulled by drugs, her body was mending. Protesting, but mending. Somewhere a machine beeped rhythmically as she allowed herself to slip from her dreamless slumber. She let herself awake gradually. Relished it, strangely enough, as she became more aware of one thing at a time. First the ache, then the beeping. She was lying under soft blankets on a soft mattress. The lights were dim, but she could see the ceiling tiles, some of which were charred. The place smelled of smoke, debris, and antiseptic. A field hospital. A pretty plush one, she thought as she twitched her fingers over the sheets. Then she became aware of a weight on the end of the bed. Garrus? Her mind asked eagerly. She could make out a figure in the dimness. It wasn't Garrus, whose torso lay against the end of her bed, one arm extended to bridge her legs. Protective, she thought as she studied the figure. Human, probably male. He was seated on a chair beside her, sleeping with his upper half draped against her bed. She reached down carefully and touched his hair. The man stirred, his other hand sliding from beneath his chest to reveal a crumpled hat clenched in his fingers. "Joker?" Shepard whispered. He stirred again, then groggily raised his head, blinking at her as though he was not fully aware of what he was seeing. Then his eyes met hers. "Shepard." He exhaled her name as though it was his first breath in a long time. He scooted his chair towards the head of the bed and grabbed her hand. Not in a comforting gesture as Caden had done, but with desperation. He needed to know she was real. Was it really so hopeless, she wondered? Had her chances of survival been so slim? And Joker was crying. "Hey," Shepard soothed, moving her arm with difficulty to touch his face. Her arm was bandaged from shoulder to fingers and clean white. "Hey now, what's with the waterworks?" Tears were running down her pilot's cheeks like rain. He didn't seem to notice her care. I'm so sorry, Shepard," he croaked. "What? Why? I heard you took great care of my ship," she said, taking his hat from his other hand and straightening it back into form. "Yeah," he scoffed, tears dripping from his stubble onto her sheets. "I took great care of the Normandy, but I left you. I left you, Shepard." His voice was tight, furious, and full of self-loathing. "Why the hell did I pick that moment to start following other people's orders? I never should have left you. I should have come after you." "Joker!" "Hey, Jeff, you did the right thing. You protected my people. You knew that was what I wanted." Joker took his hat as she offered it to him and tugged it on with a practiced motion. He pulled the brim down low to hide his eyes. "I could have done both. I'm the best damn pilot in the galaxy. I could have done both." "Modest as ever," she chuckled lightly. A slight smile flashed on his thin lips. His tears had slowed. After all this, the war, my sister, Edie, all of it, and then I left you. You fucking came back for me when the Normandy was getting blown apart. You died to save my life, and how do I pay you back?" "By not letting anyone put a scratch on our baby this time," Shepard said firmly. "You did good, Joker." She felt a needle stab in her heart, not the pain of her injuries, but of memory. "You did good, child. You did good." She pushed him from her mind as best she could. She could mourn once she knew the score. Get the full casualty list, then mourn the dead. Your sister and Edie? She asked. Hillary never made it off Tiptree. My dad either. I'm so sorry, Joker. This time she found his hand and squeezed it, back in her role as the comforter, the strong shoulder. He shook his head. I think I knew. I got through a few stages of grieving before I was even sure they were gone. I guess it didn't hit me as hard as it could have. And Edie? Is she alright? Joker pushed the brim of his hat up with his free hand. He preferred to look her in the eye, she knew. She was one of the few people that Joker honored with eye contact. When the beam finally fired from the crucible, Edie just sort of collapsed. So did the Reapers, actually. At about the same time. I figured they were connected, but... They are, Shepard assured him. Damn that kid, she snarled. Her lip curled in a grimace of anger, and she felt a cut slip open again, sending a little rivulet of warm blood trickling. She brushed it away with her free hand. She'd forgotten she was still holding Joker's. It felt natural. He was her brother, without question. Strangely enough, she even felt that he was her older brother. The way he would take her to task when he felt she was on the wrong track, wasn't that what big brothers did? Damn what kid? Joker asked, watching her eyes for clues. She briefly explained her Citadel experience, knowing that she would be repeating it many times in the future. She felt glad that Joker had been the only one there when she woke, though seeing her mate, Garrus, would be nice. Still, it was good to talk to one person for the moment. She didn't feel she could handle a crowd. Joker listened, his face registering confusion and concern. That's what happened? A glowing child appeared and told you that you had 3 choices? That sounds like bullshit, Commander. Doesn't that sound like bullshit? Hell yes, it sounds like bullshit. But I didn't have much to go on at the time. I took the choice that seemed most likely to kill the Reapers. I'm sorry about Edie. The geth, too, Joker said in a mumble, as though he wasn't sure he should have spoken. I was worried about that, Shepard said slowly, looking down at her bandaged body. What about me? I've got tech in me too. And you, and Garrus. She ticked off the list of people Cerberus had helped by putting technology in them. Garrus and me came off fine, he explained. You took more of a beating. If that Solarian guy hadn't found you. Tech, how's he doing? A badly broken leg. They say he'll probably always limp, but otherwise he's good. Anyway, when the Reapers went down, the parts of you that Cerberus had put in that were modified from Reaper tech, those went down too. Lucky for you, the elusive man kept that stuff out of your brain. Shepard thought back to the vids she had seen in the Cerberus station before she and her team had hit Earth. The elusive man wanted her mind to be her own. She wondered if Kai Lang would have fared as well. Lucky me, she agreed. You lost some bone grafts, Joker went on. They also rebuilt a lot of your muscle tissue, but your own muscles have since grown in to replace those. At least that's what doctors are telling me. Good thing, too, or your heart would have stopped when the Reapers did. So, I'm going to be the other gimp in the family now? Shepard asked, jokingly. They can replace your lost bone grafts, but they wanted you to get stronger first, Joker said, smiling slightly. The tears had dried on his face now. How do I look? Shepard asked cautiously. Joker gave her a crooked grin. You know that scar through your left eyebrow? Yes. She'd had that scar for a long time. She'd gotten it when she told the leader of the Reds, the local gang she ran with on Earth, that she was joining the military. He'd punched her right in the eye. She'd come back with a solid uppercut to his jaw and laid him out. He never gave her any trouble after that. She'd had a few other scars from when Cerberus had revived her, but those had healed. Well, that scar has a few friends, Joker went on, his eyes sparkling. And your nose might be a little crooked now. In fact, I don't think your eyes are even anymore. She smacked him with a motion that hurt her about 1,000,000 times more than it did him. He played it up all the same, yelping and pretending to cower. Unfortunately, his racket attracted the attention of a nearby nurse. The pretty Asari insisted Joker leave at once. Shepard needed her rest. He protested, but Shepard gave his hand a squeeze, then let it go. Jeff, I'm fine. For a moment she saw it in his eyes. More than plain unwillingness to leave her side, he still thought he had abandoned her on the Citadel. She knew that wound would be slow to heal for her trusted friend. You need anything, you call me, he said, his voice firm. I will, I promise, Shepard assured him. He limped unwillingly out of the room. At the last moment he turned back. Tali thinks she might be able to fix the geth. If she can, there's hope for Edie as well. Out, ordered the Asari nurse. Shepard let the nurse fluff pillows and straighten blankets. The commander's mind was alive, even if her body was down for the count. The Crucible's killing beam had only knocked out Reaper tech, or so it seemed. The geth with their Reaper enhancements, and Edie having been reworked heavily by the Elusive Man. Perhaps there was hope that they could return after all. Then the nurse injected her with something, and Shepard slid back into blackness. But this time she was less pleased to do so.